open a hearing on Senate Bill 328. And we have one oral proponent or oral testimony from Kimberly Martin with the Kansas School Nurses. Oh, and a brief first from Jenna. I'm sorry. It's a good thing she sits up here by me and she can go wink, wink, hey, what about me?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, committee. I'm Jenna Moyer, Revisor Statutes Office. This is Senate Bill 328, and it will permit a pharmacist to distribute epinephrine delivery systems to schools for emergency medicine kits and amends definitions related to medication schools to allow for use of epinephrine delivery systems. So several years ago, the legislature passed statutes that would allow for schools to maintain emergency medicine kits in schools and for pharmacists to then distribute those emergency medicines. They were things like epinephrine, and then there's another one I can't remember off the top of my head. And those statutes contemplated EpiPens, which would be just through a needle. And since then, there have been advancements that now allow for nasal epinephrine, so this is what this bill does. Section 1 amends KSA 65-1680 to expand the types of pediatric dose epinephrine that a pharmacist is allowed to distribute to a school, from solely autoinjectors to epinephrine delivery systems. Section 2 amends KSA 72-6282. This is the statute that lets students self-administer certain medications to allow for those epinephrine delivery systems. And Section 3 amends KSA 72-6283. That's the statute that allows schools to maintain a stock supply of emergency medication to expand the term epinephrine auto-injector to epinephrine delivery systems, which means a device that's approved by the FDA, which contains a pre-measured dose of epinephrine and is used to administer epinephrine into the body, and corresponding amendments are made throughout the bill to update that term to epinephrine delivery systems. The bill would take effect on July 1 upon publication in the statute book. I'll be happy to answer questions.
Committee, any questions for Jenna? Thank you. Well done, breathless and all. You did a great job running up those stairs.
The other medicine is albuterol. My apologies.
Okay, thank you. Committee, we do have the one oral testimony today, and Kimberly Martin, you're up.
Sorry. Chairperson Gossage and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm Kimberly Martin. On behalf of KSNO, we stand in strong support of SB 328, and we appreciate that this bill was brought forth. This bill proposes a small change in language that will have a massive impact on student safety. It simply updates the legal definition of emergency medication from epinephrine autoinjector to epinephrine delivery system. This will allow the new nasal spray form, and we also have heard that in development is a sublingual form, so this bill won't hopefully in the future ever have to be changed again because it's any FDA-approved delivery system. We urge you to pass this for 3 urgent reasons. First, it aligns Kansas law with current science. The FDA recently approved Neffy, and under current Kansas law, schools are prohibited from stocking this life-saving tool because it isn't an injector. The bill future-proofs our statutes so we can use whatever system is available. Second, it empowers lay responders. When a child has an anaphylactic reaction, a nurse isn't always there. It's often a teacher or a coach who must act in seconds. Many people hesitate to use an auto-injector. They're afraid of the needles. So a nasal spray option removes that fear, ensuring life-saving aid is administered without hesitation. Third, it protects school budgets. Restrictive language creates a monopoly, and by broadening the definition, you allow districts to shop for the most affordable and available options, protecting us from price hikes and supply chain shortages. Some schools will still choose to do the auto-injectors, but this gives them an option of the nasal spray if they choose that. In conclusion, SB 328 costs the state nothing and gives school districts the flexibility to choose the most effective tools to save a life. We urge you to pass this favorably. Any questions?
Any questions, committee? Yes, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for your testimony, Ms. Martin. The last time my office purchased EpiPens, they were like $1,200 for 2, and they outdate pretty quickly. Do you know any cost comparison? I haven't checked on Neffy.
So for schools, there are usually programs, like they have EpiPens for School programs that do provide lower cost or free EpiPens for schools. And Neffy now has a program too called Neffy for Schools. So the schools hopefully will be able to get low cost or free options of epinephrine. But yes, for the regular consumer, they are very expensive, but Neffy is cheaper than the EpiPens.
Thank you for your answer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Committee, that concludes the oral testimony on 328. I would refer you to 3 other pieces of written testimony, all of which are proponents. There were no opponents to this bill. That closes the hearing on Senate Bill 328. We're now going to move to Senate Bill 322, an unusual situation that we're going to have Jenna give us a brief, but the only written testimony, or the only testimony we have, is in writing. Appears to be from Senator Blasey's relative. Just teasing, I'm not sure that you're related, are you? But we hear this all the time. Is that his wife? Jenna, would you give us a brief on 322?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 322 comes to you from the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules and Regulations. A brief history, there were some proposed regulations in 2025 that brought this issue to the concern of the Joint Committee. This bill removes the authority of the State Board of Pharmacy to authorize individuals to access the program database as delegates by rules and regulations. This bill amends KSA 65-1682, and it's the definition section for the Prescription Monitoring Program Act, which many of us know as KTRACS. And so under this law, a delegate is a person who's allowed to access that KTRACS database. And under this statute, it's defined to include certain healthcare providers, death investigators, or an individual allowed to access the program database by the Board of Pharmacy and Rules and Regulations. The bill strikes the authority of the board to allow them to authorize other individuals to gain access to the KTRACS database by rules and regulations. So then the only people who would be able to access the database would be who's in statute, those healthcare providers and death investigators. And the bill would take effect upon publication of the statute book or July 1st. I'll be happy to answer questions.
Any questions of Jenna, committee? Thank you, Jenna. Elizabeth, you were going to check into any minutes from the meeting from whence this came from, JCAR or JCAR.
I am not finding that the minutes have been published or when this would have occurred. It appears it occurred in, and Jenna may know, I think it was in October.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The initial request to our office came during the June 10th meeting. And look, it was, the proposed regulation was KAR 6821-8 about delegates. There's a possible addiction of addiction counselors being added as delegates to the KTRACS system. And that's when the issue came up for the committee. And then I drafted the bill and presented it to the committee for sponsorship in October.
There are minutes from the June 10th meeting. This is for Board of Pharmacy, right? So do you want me to read what happened with the Board of Pharmacy, or do you want me to send it out?
How lengthy is it?
It's about a page.
All right, let's not read it. Let's go ahead and send that to
Okay.
the members since this is just a hearing. Committee, if you look up on the written testimony from Alexandra Blasey, assuming she pronounces it Blasey. So the KTRACS, as they mentioned, is where you can look up medications that were given, a patient's prescription history, et cetera. And so there was added that the Board of Pharmacy could delegate someone to do that. The concern was that, for example, an addiction counselor is not a primary care provider. Persons who investigate deaths and others specifically authorized to be a matter of policy. They felt this was going too far, allowing this delegation from the Board of Pharmacy. And so this is basically what the written notice said. I honestly was holding the hearing, so I was hoping we could hear more about it. So we will send those notes there. For those who don't know, JCAR is the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules and Regulations. And it was they who brought this before the Board of Pharmacy. The board did not adopt their proposed regulation, but the bill was written for us because of the joint committee, correct, Jenna? So that will conclude our hearing. I do encourage you to read the information before we work the bill, if we work the bill. That is going to be sent to you from Elizabeth. So that closes the hearing on Senate Bill 328, and committee, we are adjourned.